Welcome you all to the first panel on the topic, the leading education in the age of AI. Over the past few years, AI has moved from a buzzword to becoming something that is actively shaping how institution operates. What makes this movement interesting that we are no longer discussing about AI as a future concept. Today, institutions are actually adopting it. Today, we have an amazing panel members who are seeing this transformation from the front line. So we will hear their views, their learnings, their understanding that what they have learned while implementing the AI for their institutions. So before we actually get into the topic, I would request my panel members to quickly introduce themselves to the audience and then we'll formally start the session, sir. Starting with you, sir.
Namaskaram. I'm Dr. TPS, basically a space scientist, moved into academics. Almost 20 years I mentor students. I must have spoke to more than millions of teachers. I was academic staff college director in 2005, 20 years back. And goes around the world on sessions like this. And I was the interim founder, vice chancellor of Adi Shankara University for a few months. Now I am the provost of Adi Shankara University.
Hi everyone, I'm Anand Padmanabhan. I serve as the Vice Chancellor at Srinidhi University. I'm a lawyer by training and I graduated from NLS Bangalore in 2007. I practiced law for a good 6 years or so before I decided to switch to academia. Was in the US for about 3-4 years, pursuing my PhD and so on. My areas of research focus are in technology law and policy, intellectual property rights. But now, of course, over the last 8-9 years, I've been involved in building multiple law schools and now, of course, a relatively young university. Pleasure to be here.
Great, sir. Thank you. Welcome, sir.
Hi, I am Dr. Samla Nagaraj. I am the founding dean and director of School of Innovation and Management. It's the new business school founded by the G. Narayanama Institute, the Polarities Group 4 years back. I'm into academics basically and then lately got into administration. 23 years now with the education field. I've been teaching a lot, then doing a research, being PhD from University of Hyderabad and a graduate certificate from Harvard University. As I'm going through, learning a lot of aspects in terms of administration and admissions, and especially the kind of concept that we are talking today, the AI, and what kind of the effect that is bringing into education. Looking forward for a discussion. Thank you.
Great, sir. Thank you. So maybe we'll start with a very basic fundamental, right? AI is only powerful as the data it sits on, right? So from your perspective, and we'll hear all your views, so from your perspective, how important is to have a structured data before you want to deploy AI, maybe it for your admissions, maybe it for your academics. So how important is to have a structured data? And maybe, sir, we can start with Dr. Sashi Kumar, and we'll hear all your views on this topic.
I must thank the program Evolvo and the Meritto on this 29th anniversary. Congratulations. Admissions is the basic, probably the starting point of a institute, and it's too complex. Because you are making somebody to enter in your house where they don't know really what is happening around. So educating them is more important. I think you have a lot of FAQs generally done. And today, you have a very good system where everything can be understood so easily, so handy on a fingertip. So how do you make this happen? That happens through all that what we have. We maybe look at what is the alumni strength, how many people are there, who are all the people involved in the institution building, what is the history of that, all the records. All these are essential. And second one, probably, what is to be asked, people may not know. The biggest problem, I get a lot of calls. This is the time it starts from March to June, where to join, how to join, which course to join. The kids are really confused because there are a lot of, the buffet is full and then you are into the person who don't know what is to be chosen, right? So it's a big problem. And if you ask why do you select that, they don't know most of the time. I know some cases where I go, why did you select civil engineering? Because my mother told, that's the answer. Because they don't know why do they choose this program. So admission is not that simple, because this is the only business in which the product doesn't make or the input doesn't make the product. The input can be anything, the product can be made good. Education is such a business where we don't care the input, but we make them good. Sometimes the good products also or good inputs also become bad, because they don't know what is the process happening. So educating the whole process of what is academics and education is very, very essential today. It's too complex, and therefore all that putting into sequence, putting into array, putting into structure is very, very essential to get a clean data from them, a unified system which can provide all the informations on one click or one question. That is what I think the relevance of the whole
Structured
discussion
data,
is.
correct. So I think you can also share your view that how important is to have, like Sir mentioned, that the data should be properly structured before giving the outcome. So in your case, how important is to have, and where, if you want to start, you want to structure your data firstly for admission or maybe for other purpose. What are your views on this?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, first of all, thank you, sir, for setting the context in terms of, finally, it's all about helping various stakeholders in higher education make the right kinds of decisions.
Correct.
I mean, it can be admission-related decisions, it can be other kinds of decisions. But I think the key point to bear in mind is that technology is only as good as the data that is supportive of that particular technology, right?
Correct.
We can confidently give wrong answers if you don't have clear, structured, interoperable, well-governed data. And I think from that viewpoint where I look at it, when you take a university as an ecosystem in itself, from the point where we go out seeking students to apply for our programs or to consider any kind of program, to the point where we make decisions about applications, to decisions about scholarships and financial support, to everything that flows after the student takes admission. I think without well-structured data, you are bound to make errors in the way that you go about taking decisions. So you can take any type of use case across higher education today. If you wanted to really enjoy the benefits of all this amazing technology that in the form of AI solutions we have with us, I think all institutions, when they are developing 5-year plans, will have to start from cleaning up data, institutional data that lasts for the previous 20 years.
Right.
Because we all have a lot of messy data in our systems.
So I have a follow-up question with you. You said something interesting, that AI can give a wrong answer confidently, right? And to give a right answer, there has to be proper data. So how do you make sure at your institute that who is responsible to arrange all this data? You have a proper team defined? So who is actually...
Fantastic. It's a fantastic question. I mean, so to me at least, where I stand and look at university administration, the registrar's office is basically becoming more and more data operations office. And starting with the registrar to the deputy registrar to everybody who's supporting that office, I think everyone has to be data trained. There's a huge degree of data literacy required. So there are various steps that we need to take in order to make us, better at this whole exercise and have all this clean, structured data. But I would say it starts with the registrar's office.
Got it. So what are your views in terms of that, why structured data is very, very important?
We are now talking about the context of how structured data is important for the AI in general, and in particular when it comes to admissions, right? Admission related, student related data. As we see, we are in a very diverse education system where the data is very diverse in terms of the numbers that you get. Some people call it as percentages, some people call it as CGPAs. Our regional PIN codes are changing. I mean, not particularly maybe PIN codes. The places are changing. The names, surnames, etc. change. A lot of scrambled data is what is most of the time is available to the people in order to analyze on that one. And that's how a lot of analysis that comes out of this kind of data, which actually looks to be very simple, which looks to be very small kind of an issue. When you look at data like, does surname really matter? Okay, we used to write names like highway. Somebody call me Nagraj Samla, somebody call me Samla Nagraj. We used to last name first name last. It was the kind of concept that we had earlier. Now this kind of discrepancies, this kind of unstructured data is always a danger, especially in today's generation, where technology like AI or machines are being used to analyze is particularly in danger in order to take some kind of decisions.
Correct.
I think, when we ask what AI can do to us, I think as institutions, as individuals, we should first question, okay, are we giving right data to the AI to do it?
Correct.
AI is something like a Ferrari car, If you're taking this Ferrari car, which is very powerful on a muddy road or not a very well structured road,
Correct.
What happens? It should be very clean and the track has to be well built. It's something like that. Clean data is also something like that.
So what I've learned, if you want to ride a Ferrari, you should have a structured road.
Of course.
So before deploying AI, the data should be ready
Yes.
before you have to deploy.
Yes.
So I think another question
And
that
one of the prime jobs today has become that. You need to have good data, and a lot of effort is being done in terms of bringing up that data, because AI is being used by people in uncompromised ways and in many ways, and a lot of conclusions coming in which most of the time are not reliable at this point of time.
So there are many AI tools now there, right? They are solving many use cases for different things. Somebody is solving cases for admissions. Someone is solving cases for, let's say, for fees. Someone is solving cases for attendance. So from your point of view, where exactly is AI actually working good? What has been your experience? And we'll hear everybody's experience on this point.
Currently, we are trying to deploy the concept of AI in everything. When I was at Watson, just right before the COVID, then we want to be a little ambitious. It's the first AI-driven campus.
Mm-hmm.
So we were thinking of getting in AI-driven attendance management system. So we were trying to deploy these cameras in the classrooms which detect the students' face attendance by facial recognition, and then give the attendance to the students. So right from those aspects to the kind of assessments that you are doing, the kind of teaching learning modules that you are doing, the ERPs that we are doing these days in times of education. AI is being used extensively, but to your question, where AI being used extensively, for me, as of now, in our institutions or the institutions that I earlier worked, is in the teaching and the learning processes, where it is highly effective these days and being used at large, probably into admissions and the other areas will sooner get into a larger scale.
Sure. So your views?
Yeah, I would say that a lot depends on the institutional context. As Sir pointed out, with Voxen, you're using it for admissions. I think that's a great use case. With attendance tracking and so on. So I would broadly divide it up into three categories and say that there's one that is really, I find it very powerful, is where you want to make your teams coordinate better, because there is a lot of AI even before the generative intelligence solutions that we today come to treat it almost synonymous with AI. Even before that, right, there was a lot of predictive algorithms in the various lines of activities that we do, whether it's scheduling your calendar or coordinating to achieve a particular task outcome. So I would really say that team coordination is an area where AI can do wonders, and is in fact doing wonders often in the background. The second is the learner journey, which so you rightly pointed out. We are using a lot of that in customized LMS solutions, which give my deans, sort of dashboard view to student analytics. We are able to kind of see. Don't like to use that term weak learner, which our regulatory authorities insist on using, but for want of a better word, yes, that, right? And sort of knowing that there are possibilities of this person dropping out or facing challenges with academic progression. I think AI has huge predictive possibilities there, and it's being deployed. Of course, as far as core decision making, at least in a university context is concerned, I would say that AI is, at least to my understanding, not mature enough to entrust that with yet. Because at the end of the day, higher education, especially in a university or a college setting, is not just about optimization or efficiency, it's also about making value-driven judgments and decision-making and prioritization. There I would think that AI is still far behind the human input that needs to go in to make those.
Dr. Sasikumar, your views?
The question was
Where actually the AI is working.
Actually used. Yeah. I want to correct that question where AI is not used. I think everywhere it is there. But when you say academic institution, I believe ERP does a lot of things.
Correct.
And you have got LMS does a lot of things. I remember in 2005 to 7, I was director of academic staff college. That time I wrote a book which is called Adaptive Learning. A teacher's ability to get adapted to the student is most important. So how do, in a massive system where you have got large number of students in front of you, how do a teacher becomes a good teacher is a great question. Probably the answer is today. That time also I said you should have a flexible complementary systems where every student can look. The advantage is the student can use all the gadgets today. You can fast forward, slow down, relook the class. Physical classes, it is not possible. So digitally everything is available today. I don't think the relevance of teachers in the classrooms have gone. They have to become mentors.
Correct.
But whether it will happen in the Indian context is a big question mark, because we have got regulatory systems, this many students, this many teachers are required.
Correct.
So we fill up some people there. Are they really doing a good job? I have my own doubts. The system has to be cleaned up not from the technology which we have, but more is to be done with the regulatory authorities which we have, right? Otherwise we will produce. I keep asking, we have good colleges which are all for the government. There are institutions to boast that we have all this. We have private institutions which say we have a great institute. But my question is, where are real colleges for students who want to learn the real knowledge? That is not happening. Today it has become a certificate selling agency, or maybe I have got institutions where a student comes and says, I failed. Don't worry, next year it will become autonomous, everybody will pass. Right? So it has become a certificate issuing agency. Therefore, AI has a great role to be part in the real teaching mechanisms. That needs a lot of enabling the teachers to know how this can be used. I keep saying long back when I wrote the book, 20 years back, I see you go to a railway station, you can see a clerk printing that in the electronic machine. A bus conductor uses electronic machine, but I doubt how many teachers use real electronics in the classrooms. Still we have blackboards and chalks, or maybe PowerPoint, which becomes a copy matter with somewhere else. The real genuine teachers have to come out. That needs a real understanding that a knowledge should come not from the head to head, it has to come from the heart to heart. How effective you are, E effective and A effective is more important in the teaching learning system. So it is not LMS, it is the great teacher who has to come out from the AI. And I have students who have done probably before entering engineering college. They complete 200 MOOC courses online, open free programs available. That is what is essential. If that is not happening, we are not using the AI in its full power. Probably we should have our own AI agents generated. Every student can generate AI agents.
Correct.
Every teachers can generate AI agents, and then use them in the classroom so that every teacher becomes a producer. And you can publish it. You know, University Grants Commission, when I wrote that book in 2005, every 40 minutes lecture was considered as, or the EMMRC published program was considered as a published journal paper for all internal promotions. under UGC. So that much credit was given for a better class. If you can take 20 minutes to 40 minutes beautiful class, you have published a paper. That was the credit given. And a very, very less number of people all India. I was part of the EMMRC, the CEC, Consortium for Educational Communication under the UGC those days. So we have been pushing that, but it did not happen. Today it is available free, but people don't use it to that sense. That is where I think AI should be used more. Administration, I am sure, if that is what is required, it is being used, and extensively it is being used. We must be happy about it.
Correct. So you rightly said that AI is being used everywhere. Now there are also AI tools that are directly interacting with the students or parents, right? And when AI is interacting with them, we also have to control the AI, that what they should speak, what they should interact. So how important it becomes to have a guardrails while you're deploying a AI agent, maybe it for voice or maybe it for a chat?
Every weapon has got good things and bad things, right? So AI has become like that. There are a lot of cases where probably AI guided people even to commit suicide. That is what, when we were casually discussing, it was told. How to commit suicide, you ask ChatGPT, it will tell you. That was in the beginning stage, right? But there are a lot of options. You have got different platforms coming. You can ask any question. It will tell you all the answers. So students will misuse it. Not students, everybody misuses it. And this is a large group of people, they communicate very fast, they learn very fast. Therefore, what happens is, the content is not guarded well, you will end up in troubles.
Correct.
So there is a very, very good reason for how you should guard it well, otherwise the helpful will become harmful. Right? So every weapon has got this advantage and disadvantage. So it's essential. And what essentially required, I tell you, no technology is being replaced by the real teachers. There is a great saying, a schoolmaster mind trains the minds. A station master minds the trains. That's only difference. So every teacher is supposed to mind the students. The minding means mentoring.
Correct.
So ultimately, any question which comes into AI, somebody has to keep a log, somebody has to keep a watch, and if that goes beyond the limits, that's what is guarding, right? So what you should do is escalate it and then take it to a person who is meant for that. So we should have more counselors, more people who will really mentor them. That's why I said teachers should become mentors. It is artificial intelligence, but we all as human has got more heart. So we don't have artificial hearts available today. Therefore, teachers should become the real heart people, and that is what should work. Both head and heart always conflicts.
Correct.
If you don't take a decision according to the heart, the hand will become very bad. Handling will become much more worse. So I'm a psychotherapist. So every day I see such cases coming to me from different institutions. It's a big problem. I think gardening is very, very essential.
So your views on guardrails?
Yeah, so I think first of all, I agree with Dr. TPS that there are lots of negatives with any type of technology, but AI is also kind of special in certain ways, and I think we should parse open that as well. The first major aspect is, of course, the whole idea of what is black box algorithm, right? Because the more you have decision-making processes done by algorithms which we are unable to really make more sense of than to say, okay, there are some parameters and there are some weights given. I think it becomes all the more important that we think more seriously about guardrails. Broadly, I would say that you think about it in terms of three different vectors. The first, and this is all because of higher education work that we are now doing, the first is transparency. Right?
Correct.
I mean, you decide that a student, using AI, you decide that a student should get X percentage of scholarship or Y percentage, which is all right, but then you should also be able to transparently sort of say that, look, this is the reason why you are getting this percentage of scholarship, right? So transparency is, I think, a very important part associated with using AI in a higher education setting. The second is need for human oversight in a layered manner. There are certain things that you can do without any kind of human oversight, but then it comes to more critical decisions pertaining to classifying someone as a weak learner, for instance, to take remedial classes, right? There you should have some kind of human oversight. There cannot be a decision which is taken without human oversight in cases like that. And the third and most important, I would say, is, and that has very little to do with AI, it's much more to do with data, is the data responsibility associated with organizations depending on the kind of products that we are using. So earlier you take a higher educational institution, how many vendors would you basically have, right? Other than, of course, those who are building the buildings and stuff. Today you take any higher HEI, there will be tons of vendors, you know, who are dealing with campus recruitment, who are dealing with admissions, fee collection, and so on and so forth. So what are all these vendors doing with the data is also an important question for a higher educational institution to ask before it onboards a vendor, because often you need to ask yourself questions relating to data security, surely. Questions relating to, is this data being repurposed for certain other purposes which are not being consented to by the learners? And of course, these are not only moral requirements, these are even legal requirements where we stand. So I think these are the sort of essential guardrails from where I stand, looking at onboarding AI products that we need to sort of factor in, because at the end of the day, higher education again is not about just efficiency, right? It's also about trust. And as long as learners have the trust in the systems and processes we follow, whether there's AI involved or not, I think we are in a much better place than in situations where there is no trust.
Correct. So I think you picked up a very important topic on data, and we have a session today planned, especially on DPDPA, which Surya would be taking today, talk about data and everything. So what are your views on the guardrail while we are deploying an AI agent, be it for your admissions, for anything?
The class, the structure, the culture, the institution has produces some sort of a feeling of, yeah, this is what I must. If that feeling doesn't come, I think every institution runs like a factory where inputs comes, you do some process, gets out. One of the biggest problem which I see in most of the time when I meet students, they don't have questions at all. So what happens, what you have got a good system given, but no questions, how does it produce answers? So that is where I think the prompt engineering, the more emphasis on understanding what is that you require, what is that you can ask. If that structure is made, the rest of the things will flow in sequence. That's what I believe.
Got it. So I think before we wrap, I think one last question, so I'll start. Yeah, so please.
Question was
how do you make sure that your teams, your staffs, your faculties are using AI?
Imagine, you have a kid at home who has been very pampered, 2-3 years down the line. You have a new kid at home. What do? Do you tell him that he is going to replace you? No, you will tell him that he is going to embrace your life. You are becoming elder. You have to engage with him. You have to adapt to him. You have to understand that he is going to stay with you all the time. And he is going to make your life much more better. He is going to be your brother. You're going to be sister. He is going to be there with you. AI is also something like that. You're adopting. It's like a technology. You see it as a technology. You don't see it as so you don't play around with the organization's psychology when it comes to you as a gadget. You tell them that it's something is going to stay with you. You need to adapt to it. Something like this analogy that I told. That's how you need to embrace them and put that across very slowly. Get it to be adapted into the organization. That's how you try to manage the psychology. Otherwise, it becomes difficult when you say that this is the kind of gadget which is very new, looks very flamboyant, and it's going to replace you.
Got it. So before we wrap, like I said, maybe a quick insight you want to share with our audience that who are exploring AI tools for different areas. So what is that they should look at while exploring any AI tools? And we'll hear from each one of you, sir.
I think it's like you believe in God, yes. Why? Because I realized that He is powerful and I know God, no, this is what it does. And probably we will say that, no, yeah, I realized it works for me. Suppose you don't have belief, what you will do? You will say that maybe after some time you will realize it. Maybe a day will come, you will trust. So a trust is what is essentially to happen first. So I trust and I experiment, I evolve. Then realize that yes, it helped me a lot. So then probably ultimately you will say, yeah, thank God, right? So probably we will say that thank AI. Tomorrow it will become that day. Some people who realized faster say thank AI. Some people who don't realize will say I trust now, probably after some time I will get realized. That's what we do.
So your views.
So I would say that there is a lot of hype and there is a lot of reality associated with the AI, right? So to whoever is looking to adopt AI as part of the work, I would begin with what is the job that you need to be done, need to get done, right? Because everything starts from that point. Of course,
Correct.
we all like to claim that we are the first users of XYZ product and so on, and it's okay if it comes from natural curiosity. It's always good to try new things, but if you are really sort of trying to achieve an outcome, let's look at it from what is that outcome in the first place, then work backwards.
Correct.
And then look at what are the kinds of solutions that can work. You don't sometimes have to use a Google Assistant if Google search works equally well.
Correct.
Right? So I would really begin from there and then look at, of course, matters of responsible use, because that's also equally important. I am personally at least very concerned about if my data, especially when it comes to confidential documents, that one may upload my office, somebody uploads, to get some response through prompt engineering. That's great, but then there is a sensitive file which is now uploaded, which OpenAI or Gemini or whoever has access to. I'm very concerned about those things. So when you are especially handling student data, sensitive data, involving their personal financial details and so on and so forth, or health details and so on, I would say be very careful, because this technology is of the kind you really cannot erase data once
Correct.
it is up there. So these are the two things that I would really be quite concerned about.
So your views, maybe some giveaways from your side.
Since we are talking about the AI deployment in admissions, how does the whole process becomes more robust? And I think, it's all about information as of now to be used, AI. For decision making, it's not. Per se, we still see parents, even though you have a lot of information in ChatGPT, etc., what are the options for my MPC? My son just finished MPC, what are the different options for him? Probably AI will give you the different options, but you still like to go to somebody like sir or me, somebody, and says that my child is an MPC, but he has so-and-so ambition, he has so-and-so IQ, he has so-and-so problem, he has so-and-so positives, he has so-and-so negatives. Now tell me what is the best one. So that what we can do, AI cannot do. Probably I can tell, say, he can become a BTech, he can become aeronautical engineer, he can become this and that, probably give options. But the way we understand what are the problem with the child and where he can do better, AI cannot still do it. So we are still in the process where humans are there for the end decision making and AI is just for the information.
Great. So few things are clear. Have a strong data with you before you're implementing. Have a clear thought that for what purpose you want to build your AI agent for, and ask your team to use it, don't resist it. So thank you so much for sharing all your thoughts, and thank you to our audience to be so patiently listening to us. Thank you. Yeah.